This really suspect and sketchy individual named Benjamin Greger took the stand today during David's preliminary hearing as a witness. Now, when you hear what this dude did, when you hear his role in David's life, it would really make you sick to your stomach. I think this dude needs to be arrested. This dude is disgusting.
Okay, so I just got out of court and I need to talk to you guys about this sketchy witness. So this guy named Benjamin Greger took the stand. So he was David's financial advisor at one point. He was hired by this man, Josh Marshall, and he also worked with Robert Morgenroth. So Robert was David's day-to-day manager. Well, it seems like Benjamin came into the picture because he knows finances.
They brought him in because he's a fixture. He knows how to hide what needs to be hidden. He knows how to move what needs to be moved. Now, this dude is so suspect and so sketchy and morally bankrupt that when the dudes who hired him, David's day-to-day managers, when they themselves said, yo, David, you just too nasty, too evil of a human being for us to do business with you, we good, bro. When they took a step back from David, this dude got closer to David.
And what I thought was so evil is that the prosecutor was asking him questions about how they were trying to formulate bail because they were trying to get $2 million. And I mean they by Benjamin and David's mother, David's mom, Colleen. So Colleen and it seems like Benjamin have been in cahoots trying to figure out a way to move all of David's assets. They even emptied out his IRA, which is his retirement, which had like $150K. They emptied it all out and they moved it into these different trusts because they had one goal and one goal only. Not only to secure the $2 million in bail, but also to move all of the money from David's ownership to his mom's ownership because they want to make sure that Celeste's family can never sue them in a civil suit and take all of the money he's made.
It's the timeline and their means of communication that really raise an eyebrow. That really makes you look at these people like, y'all just nasty. So they began to move assets from David to his mom a month after Celeste's body was found. A month. Now, by month 6, 7, 8, people pretty much figured out, David is guilty. By month 1, a lot of us ain't really know what was going on because the internet detectives really didn't quite figure this out, probably by month 3 or 4, right? That's when the Reddit really got popping. So by month 1, if David was innocent, if they truly felt like David was innocent, David did nothing wrong, David was, this was all a big misunderstanding, why would they feel like they needed to move the assets? Right? If David was innocent and they knew David was innocent and they thought David was innocent, they very well could say, bro, they about to investigate, they about to find that David is innocent and they're about to, figure things out, right? Then clearly things will go back to normal. But the fact that they were already moving things already showed you they knew David was guilty. David probably, confessed to him, right? David probably admitted things to them. And by their means of communication tells me David confessed to them. David told them everything, right? They found out exactly what David did a month afterwards and began to move them assets. And when you found out how they were communicating, they were already communicating like co-conspirators, like criminals. They weren't communicating like, big misunderstanding. No, they were communicating like this dude is guilty and we need to move quick before the police arrest him.
They revealed that he's made about $11 million in his entire career, and I think it's literally evil that they want to move all the money around just so that Celeste's family could never get any bit of it. Like I said, Josh Marshall also worked for this company. He hired Benjamin. I found it interesting that Benjamin did share that he's no longer friends with Josh Marshall. Seems like they had a falling out earlier this year, and I feel like it has to do with this case. Also, the prosecutors were asking him, he would normally text and call, with Robert or with Josh, but as soon as this Tesla situation happened, they moved over to Signal, which is kind of sketchy. It seems like anytime there was any talk about bail, about the crime, they moved it over to Signal so that it was encrypted so that nobody could ever see these messages.
This dude was clearly and obviously, in my opinion, operating in a capacity more than just a financial manager. Clearly, this dude was a fixture of some sort. Because why would you need to hide your conversation with your financial manager through Signal? What criminal things were you discussing with your financial manager that it needed to be hidden? Now, I would understand if it was your day-to-day manager, right? And you're venting to him, you're talking about certain things with him, then understood. Your financial manager, really? A Signal chat, really? Now, apparently, they have discussed, or the prosecutors believe they have discussed this Celeste murder or this case in full depth. Now, this dude is clearly more than just a financial manager, obviously. And, there's something else that came up in court, right, that you guys will find out, which was kind of like confirms it back that theory of he was more than just a financial manager. Now, this dude is operating as a witness for the state. Now, you'll be a witness for the state if, they came and they have something over you. So clearly, whatever the prosecutor told him or whatever they have like, over him, they've probably already threatened him with threats of prosecution, which is why he's sitting right now, right, as like a state witness or somebody who's been called and subpoenaed by the state. Now, whatever the threats of prosecution was, clearly is not working, because this dude is still working with David, even though he's taking a stand. He's still working for David in some capacity. Like, his mom and David still has a retainer for this dude of $7,000 plus a month. So he's still getting paid $7,000+ a month. So he's still working with David in some capacity. Now, if this dude was a financial advisor or manager for David, and he's being paid a retainer of $7,000+ each and every month till this day, then why would he be helping him find a new financial manager? Right? So if his role is essentially being taken away from him and being given to somebody else, then why are they still paying him $7,000 a month? Which clearly proves the capacity in which he's working for David is clearly more than just a financial manager.
The money of it all is freaky. It almost like surpasses David, because I feel like David's mom, Colleen, likes the money and wants to keep the money for herself. Oh, another interesting thing, so Benjamin is still working with Colleen. And get this, David's mom is paying Benjamin $7,500 a month on a retainer. He said that's what he makes a month, but last week he was hired by her to find an entertainment attorney. Well then, if you were hired last week to find an entertainment attorney, then why are you being paid on a retainer, a $7,500 retainer? It is interesting, the money game, and I can't wait to see where the paper trail goes.
They really got to do their homework on that dude. I'm sure there's a lot more that's not being uncovered here. But here's the thing, Celeste's family attorney was actually in court. Now, Celeste's family attorney is actually a wrongful death lawyer, right? Like, his scope is he's a wrongful death lawyer. So he was in court today, hearing and just watching all the details. Now, he was actually asked about this. He was actually asked about, this dude helping David and his mama to hide millions of dollars from Celeste and from the public, and try to be proactive, and get ahead of this wrongful death lawsuit. And here's what the attorney had to say. Now, he is very confident that they'll be able to get that money back that David is transferring over to his mama.
About the transfer of assets, did they have a reaction to that?
Yeah, they had a huge reaction to that. Well, they're disgusted. It's just disgusting that they would purposely transfer assets to avoid a potential civil judgment. And you can transfer assets for a reasonable cause. You can't transfer assets to avoid a potential civil judgment. And the last witness, he's the one that suggested they transfer the assets in order to avoid a civil judgment. And that's exactly what they did.
This wrongful death lawsuit probably won't come until after the trial, probably in about a year, maybe a year and a half, a year or two. That money is going to be gone within a year and a half or a year or two. I can almost guarantee you this is going to be gone. Whoever these people are dealing with, if these people were proactive enough to start moving assets a month after Celeste's body was found, before the police even named David as a suspect, these people is going to have this money overseas somewhere, probably offshore, right? They're going to have this money in other accounts. I'm telling you guys right now, bro, this money that I feel like they feel like is going to be around or going to be here in is going to be gone. They're just way too savvy. They're just way too savvy. I'm telling you right now, bro. I feel like the most Celeste and her family may be able to get is probably like David royalties, right? Like, they'll be able to probably win, I don't know. If let's just say they sue David for $100 million, right? And they win. I think they'll be able to collect by having David royalties turned over to him, right? And they get paid from David's streams of his music. But I'll be real, bro. In about 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, bro, David's music is going to be worth zero, right? Zilch. Because if you're somebody who's still listening to David's music in 2026, then you got a problem. Seriously, you got a problem. Now, the music is going to be worth its highest during trial, because that's when the attention, the publicity is going to be at, an all-time high, right? Or let's just say after trial. But if the wrongful death lawsuit comes, let's say after the trial, another year or two before they get a judgment, the music is going to be worth nothing at all.
And the amount of money that we heard about was just unbelievable. And I grossly underestimated David Anthony Burke's net worth. He has millions and millions of dollars. And so it's something that we're going to look at. I'm a wrongful death attorney. And so the family brought me in to look at the potential of bringing a wrongful death claim against David Anthony Burke. So I can't really comment on any of the criminal evidence. That if you have questions about that, best go to Beth Silverman in the district attorney's office.
3 people with the family. It was the third person's sister?
No, it was an interpreter and the victim's witness advocate.
I don't like the fact the lawyer actually spoke on the money aspect of it, because this is about getting Celeste justice at the moment. Deal with the money and a wrongful death lawsuit at some point. But you can kind of see the glee, when he was talking about how much money, David has, which I'll be real, I was kind of shocked. I was stunned because apparently David made $11 million. He made $11 million, $11 million between 2023 and 2025. And I'm like, from where? Y'all be real. Before David's arrest or before this Celeste situation, I've never heard of David. I've never heard a song from him. I've never listened to him. But he made $11 million between 2023 and 2025. Now, clearly this dude is a monster and a predator, but I'm saying back bro, with $11 million, you could have literally gotten any girl in the world that you wanted. It was your picking, and you chose to deal with a girl in elementary school? Just nasty, man. Just absolutely disgusting, bruh. Bruh. Yo, I get so sad for Celeste, man. Yo, it just feels like everybody failed her. Now, I know the family right now is coming to court, and you never really want to point your finger at a grieving family, man. But something just don't sit right with me. I'll be doing a video soon about the evidence now that actually confirms that Celeste went out the country with David. And I'm just like, how does a kid in elementary and middle school, how does that kid goes out the country without the parents knowing? We'll be touching on that soon, okay? But if you enjoyed this video and you want to watch another good video, click on this video right here where I break down how the prosecutors left David shocked and stunned after they revealed in court that they found what he'd been hiding. I'm going to see you guys in this video somewhere on my screen. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.